Hello
Hello
there.
there.
This is David Alexander again. Today's January 3rd, Friday. We're getting ready to go back to the United States next week. Said my plan is to officially retire sometime in April, so we have to make a decision on where we want to live. Currently, we live in Las Vegas portion of time, Daytona Beach, and Fortaleza. And also, we're thinking about moving to Asia. I have worked in Asia before. Been an expat there before. I've been an expat in South Africa, Mexico, and stuff like that. So I have an opportunity to travel and be expats in different parts of the world. And now we just have to determine what's the right place to live in. We know that Asia, mainly Da Nang, is one of the cheapest places to live and stuff like that. And it's a tropical area on the beach and stuff like that. So is it better to live in Da Nang, the United States, or Brazil? That's what we're going to discuss today. They all have the pros and they all have the cons. My wife and I are both citizens. Well, I'm a permanent resident of Brazil and a citizen of the United States. And my wife is a citizen of Brazil and a citizen of the United States also. My kids are dual citizens also, but they live in Brazil right now, going to college. They love Brazil better than the United States. So I think they have more luxuries and freedom here than they do in the United States. United States is a great place to live, but has changed a lot in the last 20 to 30 years with different initiatives and stuff like that. When I started working back in the 80s, you had a lot more freedom and luxuries and stuff like that as you go through times, and things changed a lot in the U.S. Brazil, if I come to Brazil, it reminds me of the U.S. back in the 90s and 80s. They're about 20 to 30 years behind the United States in some of the activities and cultural type things. And so China, Vietnam, they're both countries that are great places to live, but they're also countries that have a very strict government in essence. And you have to be careful what you say in those countries and stuff like that. Just like when I was living in China, I like listening to Christian music, and every time by the time the song's finished, it's blocked. So there's some benefits of living. It's cheaper there. The people are nicer. The crime's not there. Brazil, people talk about the crime and stuff like that, but I think it's more becoming petty crime. People just have less money and they want to they steal to get what they want, which is not good. But U.S., you have the same situations too. You have crimes in some cities and stuff like that. You have a lot of people robbing stores and stuff. You just had the bombing in the car running over people in New Orleans, the Tesla Cybertruck
Actually, in Brazil,
In
they don't have it
Las
like.
Vegas. So you don't have those type of activities in Brazil. Pretty much not in Asia either, unless they're copycatting the U.S. But so we're here to talk about what we want to do, where we're going to live next year.
Should you live in United States?
So I said we have places in Vegas along Daytona Beach. Have lived in Georgia before. Have lived in Texas before.
Seattle.
Have lived in New York area, Seattle, California. So visited pretty much every state in the U.S. and have a chance to at least spend a week there at the least amount of time. So have a good understanding what it is like living in the U.S. Said I've been to Asia many times for work in the past and stuff like that. They're all great places to live. It's just what's better for us. Everybody has to make decisions based off themselves. It's not we could give you ideals and stuff, but we can't make the decision for you. Just like we have to make our decisions ourselves based on facts and data. And U.S. compared to Brazil and Da Nang, or just say China, somewhere. Da Nang's one of the cheapest places to live in the country, in the world right now. It's a lot cheaper than the U.S. It's a little bit cheaper than Brazil, mainly Fortaleza. Fortaleza is northeast Brazil. There's, there's the pros and cons of everything. Da Nang has a great nightlife, and that's what you're looking for. It's about 10 to 15% cheaper than Fortaleza, and you're probably looking at least 30 to 40, maybe 50% cheaper than most places in the U.S. Da Nang they're on the beach. They have a great nightlife and stuff like that, stuff to do, and it's cheaper. But chances of us living in Asia is not what we see ourselves doing in the future. So my kids are in Brazil. My wife is Brazilian. I have a permanent residency in Brazil. And for me to try to get some type of a permanent residency in a country in Asia will be a little bit harder. And versus myself either staying in Brazil or the United States. I think that's prefer where my wife would prefer to live too. And, sometimes financial reasons is why you determine where to live and stuff like that. But said, Da Nang is one of the cheapest places in the world. Live in the world. It's pretty safe. It's a very safe country. Repercussions are probably not that good. If you do something wrong, since Vietnam is part of is a communist.
Most people speak English in Da Nang.
Yeah, no, a lot of people speak English in Da Nang, stuff like that, because at one time there's a large military presence there during a while back ago. Philippines, the same way. There's a large military presence in Philippines. And there's a large community of people from Europe going to Asia and stuff like that. Since it's a little bit closer to go to Europe to Asia than it is to go to U.S. to Asia versus U.S. to a country like Brazil, because there's direct flights to northern Brazil. It takes from Miami, it's about 6.5 hour flight, which is pretty much a little bit longer than a flight between New York and California.
Yeah, actually, Fortaleza is a hub airport.
Yeah,
they connect to many places in Europe. Yes, actually, many people,
Europe and U.S. There's
US,
direct flights from Europe and the U.S. and stuff like that. So we're talking about Fortaleza. We're going to talk about Fortaleza versus United States right now on this blog that we're talking about. And we live in Fortaleza. My kids, I've been coming here for about 18 years, probably close to 20 years. My kids are 18 right now. So my wife is from Fortaleza. She's been here her whole life. She has lived in the U.S. for about 8 years, since 2017. Okay, 7 years, 8 years. Yeah. She has lived in California, Nevada, Daytona, Seattle. But right now we have places in Daytona and Las Vegas, mainly because I do some consulting work in the U.S. also, and those are great locations since they're on the West East Coast. So, but we're talking about Fortaleza and what's the benefits of moving to Fortaleza. The one thing about Fortaleza that drives the crime and stuff like that, 83% of the population of Fortaleza, and Fortaleza is a large city, millions of people, probably 3 to 5 million, depends on Fortaleza. City-wise, or Fortaleza, around Fortaleza is about 5 million people. 83% of the people here make minimum wage. Minimum wage is about 1,400 reals, which is a little over about $225. So some things are very cheap in Fortaleza because the salary is very low for the majority of people. A lot of people, housing, you could rent houses for a very low price, or you could rent houses for a very high price. You could also buy places, stuff like. To buy a place in Brazil, you need to get a CPF number, which is similar to is a tax ID number. It's more of a identification number.
It is not hard to get, because maybe 1 week as a foreigner, you with your passport, your address, and then also as only you can go fill out the form. Here you call IRS, Receita Federal, and US you call IRS, and then you can get your CPF number. It's like a Social Security.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not hard.
It's not hard to get, but you need it to buy anything in Brazil.
Also for renting, for open a bank account, buy a car, actually to get a cell phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot buy a ship without a CPF number.
So I've been coming to Brazil for about 18 to 20 years, and I was married to a Brazilian at one time, another Brazilian, and once I found out she wanted to divorce me, I was here, and my kids are here, so I wanted to buy a car. So I had money transferred to Brazil enough to buy a car, like cash, $30-some thousand. I went to the dealer to buy a car, and they said, "We can't sell you the car." I go, "Why? I have the cash to buy it." Well, you need a CPF number. Back in that days, it's before internet wasn't as good as it is now. So cell phones were not that great either. You just can't look it up on your cell phone. So I didn't buy a car even though I brought the money. It was hassle bringing the money back in the U.S., but that's okay too. So there's a lot of bureaucracy in Brazil, and that's one thing you have to get used to. But to make the bureaucracy easy, it's probably better to communicate to somebody in Brazil that speaks English. Most people in northeast Brazil speak Portuguese. English is not fairly spoken. I remember when I came here, at a place supposedly, but when I got to the airport, I was told that person didn't do what she said she was going to do. So I rented a room. I called somebody U.S. and they went on the website and got me a room at the Holiday Inn. So I went to the taxi and I said, I want to go to Holiday Inn. And they didn't know what I was talking about. They go, no Holiday Inns and stuff like that. So eventually I had to wait at the airport, talk to somebody who speaks a little bit English so they could tell the taxi driver that I want to go to Holiday Inn, which is, I knew where it was, but they tell me the taxi drivers didn't know what Holiday Inn was. So that's how bad the English is. Most people don't speak English here. So if you don't speak English, you should try to work with someone that does speak a little bit English.
Yeah, but
Otherwise,
usually, right now people use a lot of
nowadays
Google
you
Translate
have
and
the translation stuff, but
translation.
back then that didn't exist. When I was here, there's no Google Translate. There's no internet was just starting. There was no cell phone Google Translate. Nowadays it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
You
it's
could,
easy.
if you have Google Translation stuff, you probably can get around here. You get Uber and you know where you're going to, you could get around with Uber too. I know there's another company called 99, but I would use Uber and stuff like that. It's more safer in my opinion. But housing in Brazil said you could rent a place very low price to a very high price. It depends on what you can afford and how you want to live. Brazil nightlife is not like it is in Asia, Da Nang, Manila, Patana. The nightlife is more within a couple clubs here, and they're mainly for the younger people. Older people, like my wife and I, we go out for dinner and stuff like that. We go listen to, there's some DJs, there's some
Yeah, but
bands
in
and stuff.
Fortaleza they have a known nightclub they
Yeah.
call Pirata Bar.
Yeah.
It's a more famous bar in the world. Actually, every Monday they have the famous event they call Forró. Yeah, I don't like but everybody, many foreigner go there to enjoy the forró every Monday.
Yeah. So there's activity to do in Brazil's Fortaleza. The price is not that bad either. As said, it's about 10 to 14%, maybe 10 to 15% higher than Da Nang, which supposedly is the cheapest place to live in the planet, supposedly around there. So Fortaleza is about 15% higher. Most Uber runs you about $2 to $5 maximum to go anywhere in Fortaleza. You can order iFood and stuff like that, or you can just go to restaurants and stuff. It's very reasonable prices. They're, a
People
typical,
are very friendly.
yeah, people are friendly here. They try to help you the best they can.
They take you places you
Yeah.
don't know where it is. They gonna take you. They don't gonna charge you. They don't expect that you do something to them.
Yeah.
Because they are very friendly to help you with your needs.
Yeah, they want to help, and yeah, they want to help you. I know that one of our videos we mentioned that Fortaleza is anti-America right now, which could be true. I don't know. There's some people that don't like Americans. There's some people, most people do, as I told. Because
Actually, in Brazil, many people they
Yeah.
are saying the problem the dollar is high, the real is going down. It's because the United States,
But-
but because many people they don't know the reality.
yeah, as the prices are escalating in Brazil because the dollar's moving up, it's gone up probably since, as last time we were here was October, November timeframe, and the dollar's gone up about 1 real to a dollar. It's about maybe 20%. It was around that time. So the price has gone up, but as I said in the past, the main reason why is that U.S. it doesn't really have a great alliance with Brazil. Brazil has alliance with China and Russia right now. They're expanding a lot of stuff with China in northeast Brazil, power, hydroelectric cables, mainly.
They come with their own cryptocurrency they
See,
call Drax.
yeah, so their alliances with China right now is driving the price and stuff like that. But you would probably never feel that if you don't, if you don't want to get involved. But Brazil is a nice place to be. I mean, it has a nice ocean, I mean, it's right on the Atlantic Ocean. The temperature is tropical, 365 days a year, mainly northeast Brazil, Fortaleza. We're looking outside our door right now, and it's nice and calm. There's people.
There are many business opportunity because sometimes in Brazil they don't have the same mindset the Americans. Because, for example, the way America do business is completely different the Brazilian way to do business. The American concept to do business, I think, is something unique. The people want to move to Brazil to retire or maybe to do business is, I think they can get the opportunity to do business because in Brazil the way they do business completely different, and then Americans they have more focus. They follow the rules. They do everything like the way to. For example, if you have to have the license, America gonna do. In Brazil, always they wanna do something, skip something to do the right way.
Yeah, there's a lot of fraud in Brazil. I was going to open there's Embraer in São Paulo, which is a major number 3 airplane maker in the world behind Boeing and Airbus. And since I work for aerospace and I work in supply chain, I went to I was going to open a facility in northeast Brazil, and the Brazilian government was going to give me 75 million reals, which is about $25 million at that time, to open a facility, try to get the infrastructure set up in northeast Brazil because they want to bring the type of work here. But the person I was working with, who was a relative also, wanted to just take the money and not open a business, not do anything. He just wanted the money, and that's a lot of people here is they want to take the money from the government and not do anything. And I said, that's not what I want to do. I mean, I would have been well off if I did that and never come back to Brazil. They probably would never done anything, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to help develop aerospace infrastructure in northeast Brazil. And that's what they were going to, the government, their economic, can't remember what this, it's an economic growth sector. The Sierra government wanted me to do that. But the person I was working with, who was a Brazilian, wanted to just keep the money and stuff. And that's the one thing about Northeast, about Brazil is overall, there's a lot of corruption in politics. Yeah, bribes and stuff like that. So, and you get it even in real estates and stuff like that. Like they want to, and a lot of stuff in real estate also in Brazil, they don't go through a title company like they do in the U.S., where a title company clears the title stuff. A lot of time in Brazil, they will sell you a place and don't even own the title, the rights to sell you the place, because it's stuck up in limbo land somewhere out there. A lot of places in Brazil in the past, the people lived there without getting a title. So even when
sometimes they don't have contract. Nothing.
Yeah. So when when we bought this place, we also had some title concerns because it was inheritance. The house was brought to the owners as a family as a inheritance.
And then they have debt.
And then they have debt. If you have debt, you have to pay the debt off before you could get the title transfer. But they didn't have the money to pay the debt off, so we took the risk and bought the place, knowing that we could never get it. But that's stuff you have to look at mainly if you buy stuff or even businesses and stuff. Because sometimes you buy a business and they don't have the right to sell that business because they don't own it, but they sell it and stuff like that. So that's some items that you have to look. So, but living in Fortaleza is great. I said I've been coming here for the last 20 years. It's the best place to live. We have a couple places in Brazil, but waking up every day, looking outside on the beach, like Miami. If you live in Miami, you could look outside the beach.
You hire somebody's ship, you can have a maid, you can have
But yeah, so most places, I mean, place on the beach here it could go up to thousands of dollars a month probably, but normally it's probably ranging around $1,000 if it's a larger apartment stuff, probably a couple thousand maybe. But when our house was being built in California in Orange County, we lived in an apartment complex, 2-bedroom. It cost us $3,200. for a 1-year lease. And this was 8 years ago. Imagine, I think the prices are now going up to about maybe close to $4,000. So you could get a nice place in Fortaleza, Brazil for $1,000 to $2,000. You can also get them a lot lower price, but it all depends on what you want and your standard of living. And I might like to downsize, but I don't like to reduce my standard of living. And most people don't either. They work hard all their life to get a certain thing. They want to stay there. And Fortaleza will give you that. If you want beachfront property and pay.
Actually, there are many options outside Fortaleza.
Yeah.
Like
Camboco,
Beach Park, Porto das Dunas. Camboco is a little bit cheaper. Actually, over there, I think down the road, it's going to be a boom in the whole estate market because Porto das Dunas is a little bit close, but the properties, the land is a little bit expensive.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunities outside of Fortaleza too. I said the proper Fortaleza, including the outskirts, about 5 million people. And there's activity out there. Fortaleza is the main city in Sierra State. It's the capital of Sierra State. And it depends if you want the isolation or not. Even though there's not much isolation there,
But Cumbuco from here is
20
minutes.
Yeah, but most people, if you want to live in a nice place, you have to get outside of the downtown city of structure, Cumbuco, correct?
Yeah.
And that means you don't have the ability just to walk, unless stuff
true.
like that. So, and that's the main thing is that's not what I'm looking at my retirement age and stuff like that. I want to be where the crowd is, where the sites, where the activity is. And that's why I would say I would stay with Fortaleza, but it's up to people what they're looking for. But there's a lot of corruption in Brazil. And
No matter state
no matter where it
choose
is and stuff like that. And it's a nice area to live. We're moving to Brazil in April. We're still keeping our places in the U.S. because of the family and stuff like that. But
I actually have had the opportunity to live in Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, for maybe about 4 years, 2 years in Rio de Janeiro. And then, in my point of view, my experience, I think Fortaleza is a good choice because Rio de Janeiro is dangerous. Actually, is a bucket list destination for foreigners, and then is more expensive. And then São Paulo too is a globally city in Brazil, and then also is more expensive the Fortaleza. And then is I think Northwest Brazil the salary is low, but for foreigners, the people who wanna retire, and then I think Northwest Brazil, especially Fortaleza, is a good choice.
yeah, so Fortaleza affordability is very good. It's a little bit higher than Da Nang, but it's 14%. It's probably like a lot less than your major thing that you're going to pay for is rent, and food is probably second one. Depends on where you want to eat and stuff like that. You could eat for dollars if you want to eat on the beach. I mean, if you want to eat at one of the carts out there. We like to eat in nicer restaurants and stuff. So you're probably spending maybe $20, maybe $30 per person, the maximum, stuff like that. The beaches are great here. It's close to the equator temperature. It's a tropical temperature. 365 days,
natural
365 days of 75 to 90 degree weather. No natural disasters or anything. It's not when it rains, it rains. They have fixed infrastructure a lot around here where it doesn't flood when it rains anymore. And they're modernizing the boardwalk and stuff like that. They've probably invested millions of dollars in the last
Actually,
5 to
the
10 years.
government of Ceará, they give a lot of incentive for the companies abroad to come here, and then usually they give a lot of incentive. Actually, the preview employers, I was working in Brazil, the city of Calcaia is a little bit next to Cumbuco. They donate the whole land for the building an outlet mall. And then actually they donate the land and then give the incentive to the store owners.
So it's got a very rich culture in Northeast Brazil. My wife mentioned the forró music scene and stuff like that, which is more like country western type situation, but it's not. It's more of a Brazilian country western type situation. They like to dance. There's a lot of festivals, cultures, holidays around here. So the climate's great, 365 days a year.
We don't have too many Americans here, but right now I think because since Fortaleza became a hub airport, there are many direct flights from United States, but it's most common we can see Europeans here, people from Portugal, because it's only 6 hours from Fortaleza to Lisbon, people from Italy, from Amsterdam, Portugal,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
Amsterdam.
yeah. Mainly Italians and Portuguese.
Yeah,
Portugal.
Italian and people from Portugal.
There's growing infrastructure. There's two major malls here. Cost probably from our place maybe $5 to get there via Uber. We have a car here, but we drive Uber a lot too because you have to pay for parking in Brazil. You go to the mall, it's 11 reals, which is about $2 to park. It costs you a little bit more to take Uber, so we prefer just take Uber. It's easier. Traffic, people complain about the traffic here, but I mean, you can't complain the traffic to California, rush hour, or even anywhere during rush hour. The traffic's bad everywhere unless you live in the boondocks of the U.S. You go any major city, there's going to be traffic and stuff like that. But they have great major shopping malls here. They have amenities are great here too. The healthcare is free, but it's not the best healthcare in the world. It's free
You
for
don't
anybody.
have to prove you have income
Yeah.
for do the application for get the SUS is the governmental health insurance is free. You only do the application. You don't have to show your income. You don't have to prove how much money you make. You can do the surgery. You can do the doctor consultation. You can go to the emergency room without to pay anything. Actually, they have a new hospital, very big hospital here. They call Leonardo da Vinci, the hospital. They built this hospital during the pandemic. And then I think my friends went to visit. She said the hospital is better than the United States. Some hospitals she have been visited over there. And then they take people only for surgery. They do everything. They have a high-tech hospital. They have everything you can imagine.
Yes.
Everything free. CAT scan. They do heart surgery.
But yeah, there's probably a lot of people trying to get into.
No,
And
they don't take people. They only, for example,
appointments,
by appointment.
referrals from.
Yeah,
But
for the doctors.
yeah, the one thing about the public hospitals here is that there's a lot of people that don't have money there that go there, and the care could be great, but you have a lot of people, just like Canada and some of their healthcare. Sometimes you have to wait months and months and months to make
Yeah.
appointments and stuff like that. Brazil's the same way. So I recommend you get some type of health insurance, stuff like that, if you live here.
You can gonna pay about 1,700.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you,
Which is
without the deductible.
which is dollars. So it's about $300. You could have great health, because if you wait and depend on public health care, and if you need something major done, it may not get done.
Yeah. Even though if you have a private home insurance, you don't have to pay to the ambulance.
Yeah,
Ambulance
it's free.
sometimes the government ambulance is coming faster than if you get from
yeah.
the private.
Yeah.
It's faster.
And
I have a friend who work as a paramedic here in Fortaleza. He said most of the time they get early at the emergency than private insurance. Sometimes when, for example, people who has Unimed here in Brazil is a famous health insurance plan, and Apivida costs about $300 a month. And then they provide ambulance, but most people go to the public ambulance and then don't have to pay anything. Actually, if you have your own insurance, you don't have to pay to the ambulance too. It's already included in your health insurance.
So there's a small expat community in Fortaleza. As my wife mentioned before, there are people from Europe, a lot of people from Europe. There's some people from the United States. They have a consulate office or consular extension office, a person who's a consular officer from, I think she's out of probably Rio, but there's a small office here of one person that takes care of passport needs, anything that U.S. citizens have. So there's a consular agency here that runs out of the U.S. Embassy in Brasilia. So they do have a person here. Normally, 4 days a week. I think the person's taking appointments and stuff like that. Be like, you need something to do with your passport, something notarized and stuff. There's a U.S. consul agency here in Fortaleza that you could make very easily make an appointment with her and stuff like that. So, and there's an expat community, mainly European, but there's some American people here and stuff like that from the U.S.
Actually, they have a big companies at the Pecém is a big port. You have at the city São Gonçalo do Amarante. They have many logistic company are actually from the United States. They have logistic company. They have wind power company, hydrogen company, solar power company, and then many these big companies they hire actually people from different countries, United States, from Korea, steel company, they hire people from many different countries in the world. Actually, these people, they speak English, and then most of them live around the Cumbuco. Most of them live over there. Some live in Fortaleza, and then many companies are actually are coming 2020.
Correct. So we mentioned the safety concern in Brazil and stuff like that. You have to be careful, just like you have to be careful anywhere in the world. I mean, when I was living in South Africa, somebody got killed outside of our hotel, the Westin Hotel there. I know that we almost got carjacked. We were going on the same pattern every day, and that day we decided to change our pattern, and they actually carjacked our driver, held him for 3 days and stuff like that. So anywhere you go, you could have most of the crime here is
Pickpocket.
not pickpocket or stealing something, wearing a necklace, or you wear a watch in your hand. It's crimes of opportunity. It's crime of opportunity, stuff like that. So otherwise, there's no major type crime here that, I mean,
No terrorist attack.
yeah, not terror.
No.
My wife has done, I mean, she would go to the cash. She would not want to pay the park to go to a cash machine, and she would park her car on the side of the road, go to a cash machine in total darkness, and be robbed at gunpoint twice in the same week. But she did the same thing twice, and I told her,
We have to take precautions.
yeah. If you do something, if I were to go to downtown Detroit, if I would go to downtown Detroit and stop at a car wash, I mean, an ATM machine in the nowhere, chances are I'll be robbed too.
Yeah.
It happens anywhere in the world, so as long as you're careful and stuff like that. But if you do, only times I was ever, my necklace, I have a gold cross. I had 3 of them. I all got taken off my neck in Brazil. But it's always when I wear it and I'm not thinking I'm mad and I think I'm invincible. And then it happens in pretty much the same area all the time. And where that is, the areas by the favelas in Fortaleza. And the people would come, rob you, run into the favelas. The police don't chase them in the nighttime. So it's a crime opportunity. The language barrier is pretty big here. But the good thing about it is that a lot of younger people are taking English as taking English class here. Most people probably under 20 or probably under 30 that have money have no English, and they want to help you because they want to speak English. So if you just associate with somebody that speaks English, it will help you a lot if you don't speak Portuguese. But the best thing to do is learn Portuguese if you can, or certain words and stuff like that.
Actually, you can take a Portuguese class free in Brazil in some place.
Yeah, and we mentioned healthcare stuff, so we're not going to talk about that. You get tourist insurance, or when you come here, get your own insurance. Traffic and public transportation. Traffic's not that majorly bad. Public transportation, I don't think I would take a bus in Fortaleza, but I actually never took a bus in the U.S. either, so I just don't.
But actually in Fortaleza, they have a special bus.
Yeah, but I'll take Uber. I'll take Uber because Uber's so cheap. I never took a bus in the U.S. either.
No, they have a regular bus, the city bus, but they have the Guanabara is a top bus.
Yeah.
You can pay R$5, and then they take you to at the mall. They take.
I'm talking about public buses. There's some higher end buses that you could take, but it's not a public bus.
No, it's a
private bus. Yeah, private buses, there's nothing wrong with. We've been on private buses to the countryside and stuff like that. It's the way they go. The buses they have sleeper seats if you want, or just depends on how much you want to pay and stuff like that. The private transportation, there's nothing to worry about. Public transportation, I would take Uber before I take the bus.
It's not safe.
I haven't taken the public transportation in the U.S. my whole life, so I just don't do that. And visas and stuff like that if you want. So I think there's people to talk to in Brazil if you want. We could give you those contacts and stuff like that. But there's some good areas, Malalas, Adioto, the neighbors to live in stuff. Pretty much stuff around the Vitamar is probably where you want to live.
Close
Stuff
to the ocean.
close to the beach and stuff like that. It's if you want to move out, there's more risk there and stuff like that because that's where the people that don't have money, but doesn't mean they're going to be bad to you or nothing like that. It's just closer. There's more police activity in the sense of there's more police. Like when we go walking at nighttime, they have police all the way along the Bittermar and stuff like that. Like normally, even outside our apartment, there's about two or three. Since we live in places East Mountains, there's about 3 or 4 cops that are out there every day at nighttime and stuff like that, protecting. There's a police monitor station down that we could see and stuff like that. So it's very safe.
They have tourist police
they're-
specific for
They're
tourism.
they're trying to
Attract more tourists.
they're trying to attract more tourists and stuff like that, and they're trying to make it safer. So, and that's why they changed. They updated all the
Actually, when
Vitamars.
you got to Robert, remember the police guy put us in his
Their car to go
their
show
car,
some people that they
go show the
captured. They capture,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
they capture stuff.
Yeah,
So
they try to help us. I think they stay with us maybe about 1 hour to look if you find the robber. And then he was very nice. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." And then we're gonna take a look. We're gonna give you a feedback after. I think they are very nice.
Yeah.
About the visa, like Dave was talking about, it is not hard to get the visa in Brazil because if you, even though if you come with your American passport, you can stay 6 months, and then actually you don't need a lawyer like in the US. For example, when I did my green card application, my husband did all paperwork. Actually, you can do yourself. Also, you can hire somebody. You don't need to hire a lawyer to do that. Everything is go to federal police in Brazil. The first thing you have to have your CPF, your passport. The CPF take about 2 weeks to get. You can do the application line about the federal police or do you everything about your visa. Maybe take maybe for everything maybe about maximum 4 months.
yeah, but
Everything.
you do need to speak Portuguese.
Yeah, you do need to speak Portuguese, or ask for somebody
Yeah,
to help
that's
you.
that's the main thing is that it's easy, but if you don't speak Portuguese, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Because
And then
most people in the government do not speak U.S. English.
And then sometimes if somebody gonna do something, the paperwork for you, they call here a despachante. I don't know how to call in English. It is not somebody like a lawyer. It's a people who handle the paperwork for through the federal police. Sometimes some of them they say, yeah, you can give me what do you think is fair. Some people like to do a favor. Of course, everybody help. They expected something.
Yeah.
But they don't charge like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in closing, Fortaleza is excellent choice for expats, in my opinion. It's got a great tropical beach area, vibrant culture, and lower cost of living than the United States. As said, the Dang is about
It's
50%.
a growing
It's a
city
growing
in,
city,
city in Brazil.
and they're trying to. Fortaleza is actually where people that live in Brazil go for vacation. It's like the Southern California of Brazil. That's people go to, or Florida of Brazil. People go to the beach area. So São Paulo, even people in Rio, they come here for vacation. Safety and language barrier. The language barriers, I think, is a bigger problem than safety. As long as you're safe and stuff like that, you're safe, sane and safe. So the language barrier can be a problem. Just find somebody who speaks English and stuff, or speaks English, and they will help you the best. They will help you. If you're younger, it's great because a lot of young people here do speak English, mainly people
Actually, they want to try to
They
improve
improve the
their
language.
English. Yes, maybe you can make actually a partnership with
Yeah.
somebody. Okay, I'll help you to improve your English. You help me to do this. Here in Brazil, they like to collab with people. If something you do this for me, I'll do this for you. Many people do that in Brazil because they are very helpful. They are very friendly.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing before you move anywhere, you got to come check it out, see what it's like. Stay here long enough to make a decision. Get a hold of the right people and stuff like that. If you have any questions, you can ask us. My wife is a lawyer from Brazil. I'm a supply chain person from the U.S. So business is easy to open here. We're in the process of opening a business too. Normally, the best way is just have everything here. You have to go through CPA to do taxes. You can't do your taxes yourself. So everybody has to have a CPA here. So normally the CPA opens a business and does all the paperwork for you and stuff like that, and prices.
It's
like
very
that.
cheap.
It's very cheap
Yeah,
compared to
they do everything for one minimum salary is about
$250. So
Yeah.
you have to pay for the paperwork and stuff. So everything's pretty cheap here.
They do everything for you. Also, they go to you, come over, and then you sign the paper, say done.
Yeah, I had some problem with my green card here. Since my green card was I was going to work in Brazil, I wasn't supposed to work in the U.S., so they had to go back and change my green card status. Otherwise, I'll be double taxed. But so the CPA did that and stuff like that. They're pretty good, and they don't charge that much. As my wife said, they charge one minimum salary to take care of all the paperwork and stuff like
No,
that.
actually, for do that, he charged about, I think at the time, I think 400
Yeah,
reais.
so it wasn't that expensive, but so the best thing to do is, as long as if you don't know the bureaucracy of Brazil and stuff like that, if you want to buy something, just don't try to do it on your own if you don't have to. I mean, if you can't because financial is a different story, but
Não show
It's-
possesses because
yeah.
in Brazil, they like other countries, sometimes they try to take advantage
Yeah.
of you.
if you speak English, they try to take advantage of you because
Yeah.
they think that all Americans or all Europeans are rich. That's the culture here. But
We have to say we don't have no money.
my wife is pretty good saying I have no money.
No money.
So, but yeah,
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's a good
For example, if they tell you it's one minimum size, say, oh my gosh, it's very
expensive. Yeah,
expensive.
I'm poor. That's why I'm moving to Brazil.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is come to Brazil, wherever it may be, São Paulo, Rio, Fortaleza, Recife. There's a lot of nice places to live in Brazil. They're cheaper than, but also Asia's cheaper too. It depends on what you want. As said, the flight from Miami to Fortaleza runs between 300 at low up to 1,000 if you want. 1,000. I think business class is like $1,600. But you could buy a basic economy seat for $300 and some dollars between Miami and Fortaleza. It's a great place to live. It's friendly people. Food's very
Business opportunity.
business opportunity. You look for a business opportunity. Great real estate. A lot of new skyscrapers being built here. We could see
Always the demand is
the
high.
demand's
is
high. You have people with a lot of money. You have people with no money.
No
here.
money.
The people with a lot of money, they seem to know each other quite well. So if you want to come here, open a business, give some people that you meet at these nicer restaurants, and they know everybody. Just like my wife knows my ex-wife family quite well, stuff like that. So everybody knows them. My kids knows everybody because they all, for some reason, they all associate with each other. That
Everybody know each
10 to
other.
15% of the people that have money here, probably 10% probably, but it's not like the United States where you live in community, you don't know each other. Here, they drink together, they party together and stuff like that. That's the culture you're looking for.
No matter city you choose to move in Brazil or another country, especially in Brazil, you have to build a relationship with people. People like to connect with people
Yeah.
in Brazil. They love to help. They are friendly. They are very nice. Sometimes they do things for you without expecting anything.
But in closing, my main thing is like when I was living in China, I had a driver. I asked drivers in South Africa. I always treat them like they're part of my family. Like if I go out for lunch, I took my driver, I pay. My kids had nannies. If they go out there, I take the kids nanny, take them to lunch also.
Helping people,
I try
they
to
will
I
help
treat
you.
them I treat them as a person. I tip very well in the US, I tip very well in Brazil because I want to treat them as that they're providing service for me and I need to reward them for that service. And if you do that in Brazil, like any place that you travel to, people will remember you. Like we go back to restaurants,
Coffee shop.
coffee shops, even Gala from before. They would come, they know us, they know that we give them a great tip, so we get exceptional service.
Yeah.
And they remember you because most people don't tip.
They
So
go beyond your
taxation.
expectations.
So just treat the people with respect and dignity anywhere in the world, and they will help you. And in closing, that's, treat people the way that you want to be treated, and things will go good for you. And one person will know that more than anything else, and that's God. So treat people with respect, and they are also, I mean, so I think that's about it. Do you have anything
I
else?
think this video help you guys to make a decision or to know a little bit more about Brazil, and then based of our experience here in Brazil, and then don't forget to subscribe, and then if this video help you, and then share it with your friends. Thank you.
Thanks, and God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.